When you're starting to drive a car, they don't let you just pop in the driver's seat and start driving. You have an instructor near you that he can override you. And in the exact same way, we let people that never flew a drone before fly drones thousands of miles away because they have someone to hold their hand if they need it.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 222. Want to fly a drone in an exotic world setting? Then you're going to love what today's guest has to say. Tal Fromchenko is co-founder and CEO of FlyThere, a new startup that lets people remotely fly drones all around the world from their own laptops. It's an immersive way to experience the world without actually traveling. Tal has several years in the software industry and with tech startups. FlyThere is his most recent venture and offers exciting opportunities for people wanting to travel and fly drones. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Tal talks about the origins of the company, how users can easily and safely pilot a drone in faraway lands, and how real-time remote flying could become a new way of entertainment. But before we hear from Tal, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Now you have the option of making a one-time donation in any amount by going to droneradioshow.com/donate. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. And if you'd like to make a monthly contribution, you can still go to patreon.com/droneradioshow. So let's find out how we can experience the world through the eyes of a drone, all from the comfort of our living rooms, with Tal Fromchenko. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Tal to introduce himself.
My name is Tal Fromchenko. I'm the co-founder and CEO of FlyThere, and I'm also a serial entrepreneur that loves innovation and thinking out the box of new ideas.
Tal, what does FlyThere do?
Take a second and think how great is it to visit new places and really see the world. Well, FlyThere lets you do exactly that. It's a truly immersive way to experience the world through the eyes of a drone. We have drone operators standing by in the most exotic locations, places like Thailand, Bali, Brazil, waiting for our users to remotely pilot these drones in real time.
Are the flights typically on demand, or do customers have to schedule a flight time in advance?
So the pilot is in the location, like I said, and standing by. And once you want to fly with him, you basically just click on a button and he gets notified and he connects with you within about 60 seconds to 2 minutes and you start flying.
Why did you create this service?
I used to be a world traveler and I traveled to some of the most amazing places in the world. And about 3 years ago, my first child was born. And with that came the realization that traveling is going to be just, a bit more complicated from now on. I believe this is what drove me into thinking of new ways to experience the world from home. I mean, you have Google Earth and YouTube, but these are passive experiences. They're not yours. I wanted to create a way for users to, create their own personal experience. And that's how I came up with FlyThere.
How much control of the drone do customers get?
Basically, they have full control over the drone. I mean, the operator is over there to intervene in case something happens. Plus, he can also limit it according to the specific terrain. So let's say you're flying over trees, he will limit it to, let's say, 30 feet above the trees, for example. But if you're flying over the water, so we limit the drone automatically to about 25, 30 feet above water. So then you can fly just anywhere.
Are there any latency issues?
No, it's virtually zero latency. I mean, it's barely noticeable, especially if you're using, let's say, a game controller. So you get more or less the exact same feeling as if you are now on the beach in Brazil flying your own drone. I mean, part of the concept behind FlyThere is when you fly a drone, and this is something that people that fly drones know, you don't actually look at the drone and fly it. You're looking at the video that is streamed from the drone's camera to your mobile device. And part of the thought process about FlyThere was if I can decouple this requirement, I could basically get the feeling as if I were now standing on that beautiful beach in Brazil flying my own drone.
Sort of like when people want to control the webcams that are situated around the world.
Yeah, sort of like, just here you get to put life into them.
So let's talk about how it actually works. Walk us through the process of starting a remote flight.
So it's super simple and it's also completely safe. All you need is a laptop or mobile phone and you can start flying in no time. Before you take off, the co-pilot must verify that you have working audio communication, that he can talk with you during the flight. So you need to make sure that you have a working microphone and to grant access to FlyThere once prompted to. Besides that, it's just following the instructions of the co-pilot and flying wherever you like to.
What can customers use to control the drone?
It can be controlled by your mobile device. It can be controlled by the keyboard. Or if you have Xbox controller or PlayStation controller, you can use that as well to control the drone, just like a DJI controller.
Do customers have access to the full range of movement, or are they limited in maneuvering the drone in any way?
Anything you can do with a regular drone. By default, we actually block the sideways and backwards motion, because for people that it's their first time flying, they don't realize that if you fly sideways or backwards, you can hit something because you're not looking where you're flying to. But for more experienced users that ask for it, they can ask the co-pilot, and he will open the full control where you can do sideways motions, backward motions, and then you can do orbit shots. I actually learned to do orbit using FlyThere.
So someone that has never flown a drone before and wants to try it, that's okay.
Definitely. It's super friendly for beginners. Also, for someone that is thinking about buying a drone and he wants to try different models of drone, he can try. We have the Phantom 4, we have the Mavic Pro, the Mavic 2 Zoom, the Mavic 2 Pro. We have all the DJI models, the recent models on our system.
How much does it cost to use the service?
It depends how many credits you buy. We have a credit system in which every 2 minutes we charge you 4 credits, and the value of the credit depends on the amount of credits you buy. And it's $2.99 for 2 minutes.
Some people may feel a little ambivalent about trying the service. They may not believe that it's actually real. What do you say to them to alleviate their concerns?
First of all, believe that it is possible. Second of all, that it's super safe. People, when you give them the controller and you tell them, okay, here, try and fly. No, I'm afraid I'm going to crash it. That's a reaction that I've seen many times. Because we have the co-pilot on the other end, it's super safe. Just like when you start learning how to drive a car and you have the car instructor near you, so you're in good hands. In the same way, it's with FlyThere. The more you get the hang of it, the more it becomes a natural extension of your mind and body. Only here you're flying somewhere miles away. I like to think of it a little bit like Brandon Stark in Game of Thrones.
Can you tell us the locations where people can fly today?
So we have a drone in Cancun, which is a beautiful location over there. We have in Brazil, we have in Peru, in Argentina. That's in Latin America. And in Asia, we have in Thailand, in Phuket, in Indonesia, in Bali, and in the Philippines, in Manila.
Any new locations on the horizon?
We're now about to open a new amazing location in Norway, which is going to be fantastic, especially this time of year because they have daylight like almost all the time. So we're looking for really unique and exotic locations at the moment.
If someone thinks they have a great location, how do they apply to be a co-pilot?
So we have an application form that you can fill in flythere.com/apply. And we go over the application forms and we see if there are any unique and exotic locations that grab our attention. So we then approach that person and take it from there.
How long has the FlyThere service been in operation?
I would say we started the beta around October, so about 8 months of beta, and now like a month and a half of being operational.
What sort of feedback are you getting from customers that have used the system so far?
Users are really loving the experience. They're coming back to fly more, and we see them talking about how this is a magical experience.
What are some of the things that people can do to ensure they're getting the best possible experience?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So what I see also is that there is a certain time in the beginning that there's a novelty, okay? And people go like, oh, wow, I'm flying a drone. And after a few minutes that they're flying, some people are like, okay, what should I do now? And they need to realize that it's their opportunity to go and explore somewhere else in the world and just do whatever they want to, because they have control over the drone and they can fly wherever they want to and just go and explore the area. It's usually amazing places and it's a lot of fun to explore them.
How large of an area do people typically cover in their flights?
I would say about a mile in each direction, like 1 square mile.
And I assume that since the co-pilot is on the line, he or she can provide some ideas on where to fly.
Definitely. So the co-pilot is there. He's acting both as an instructor and as a guide. And that depends on how much the person flying the drone wants to interact with the co-pilot. So he can ask him questions and the co-pilots are very knowledgeable about the area and they can tell them all about the cool spots and point them in the right direction. Or if you prefer just a quiet flight, you can not communicate with the co-pilot.
Tal, let's talk a little about the company. Do you remember when the idea for FlyThere came to you?
I remember it actually very vividly. I was one evening sitting in my porch and just thinking about cool ideas, playing around with the thought of buying also a drone. Like I said, I'm very passionate about traveling. And I realized that to buy a drone won't really make sense because I'll fly it a few times in my surroundings and I'll get bored of it and will just, dust up in my top shelf. And then it hit me the idea that because I'm watching the drone video stream on my phone, if I can decouple that, I can basically fly in different places and then I would do it all day long myself. And yeah, it was like this aha moment was the exact thought process that I described now.
How do you describe FlyThere? Are you a drone company, tech company, travel? What do you say to people?
I guess it has some of all, but I personally see FlyThere mainly as an entertainment company for experiencing remote reality. I mean, I'm quite positive that the world is going towards real life, live experiences. You can see that happening in two parallel planes. Real life experiences, you see how influencers that show real life gain more and more popularity, and their audience is fed up with, made content. And live experiences, you can see that in the gaming world very clearly, if it's shooting games or poker tournaments and stuff like that, you see that gamers want to play live against other gamers in simulated environments. And FlyThere as a concept is a bridge between these two planes that lets you create your own real life live experiences.
Do you see the potential for other real-time remote flying applications other than the travel aspect?
Yeah, definitely. It has a lot of B2B potential applications if you need to have like experts inspecting things. And also we're thinking about creating a really kick-ass game based on our technology that will allow you to interact with other users with real live drones.
In dealing with the various countries, do users have to be aware of the rules or the regulations?
All the responsibility is always on the co-pilot. You as a user, you don't need to worry about regulation, about batteries, about crashing the drone or anything. You just come and fly.
What were the biggest obstacles in creating the service?
I think making people believe that it's possible. When people hear about us, the reaction is either no way or it's fake or like I said, they're afraid to crash the drone.
When some of the first news stories hit the airwaves, I saw several social media comments questioning the wisdom of allowing people with no experience to fly drones remotely in other parts of the world. How do you respond to comments like that?
I see it exactly in the opposite way of what they're concerned about, because you have the co-pilot over there to guide you and to teach you how to fly. Like I said, when you're starting to drive a car, they don't let you just pop in the driver's seat and start driving. You have an instructor near you that he can override you. And in the exact same way, we let people that never flew a drone before fly drones thousands of miles away because they have someone to hold their hand if they need it.
What do you see as some of the challenges that lie ahead in growing the business?
I think having like more and more exotic locations and having people make a habit of using FlyThere also.
What can you tell us about the business model for FlyThere?
It's basically a two-sided network like you have with Airbnb or Uber, in which you have the operators that are giving service to the users that are flying their drones. So it's a very simple, actually, business model.
So you're basically creating the platform to connect users and co-pilots.
Exactly. We intend to tap into the gig economy and basically let anyone with a drone offer his services with FlyThere and make some money with that.
And then the co-pilot just has to take the responsibility for following the rules and regulations of the country and for ensuring safety.
Exactly, yeah.
Can users record their flight?
Yeah, definitely. He has a camera button where he can take photos or videos, and they'll be downloaded to his computer by the end of the flight.
How about using the video for commercial purposes? Are there any restrictions on that?
If that is the case and someone wants to use the photo for commercial purposes, so he can purchase the rights to the photo from us.
What has creating FlyThere taught you?
I have many creative ideas all the time, but when I thought about FlyThere, I realized that I'm onto something big. And I was 100% sure that anyone that heard about it will immediately fall off his seat and went to talk with some of the top investors that I know before even having a POC. Just, I had an idea. And I just couldn't believe when I got turned down by them. It was funny for me because I thought, this is the best idea ever. And then I started to understand that even though that is such a great idea, I need to put a lot of work into proving my case.
Did the idea change much from the initial thought to where you're at today?
No, I think that more or less when I formalized it, it's more or less in its base the same idea. I think that you should really go with your gut and try to build it according to how you envision it.
After that initial rejection, how did you redirect your efforts to move the idea forward?
We started creating the POC, to see that it is indeed as cool as I thought it would be. And then started showing the POC to more and more people. Then at some point, Techstars approached me and invited us to participate with their summer cohort last year. And there already I spoke with some really smart people that helped also in pointing us in the right direction.
What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who are starting their own company?
Believe in yourself and listen to your gut, because people will give you tons of ideas to change this and to change that. And, you need to listen, but eventually it's your decision, it's your company, and you need to build it according to your vision. So that I would say is one thing. And another thing is be a data junkie. I created just upon Excel, numbers to see how the business is going and everything, because that's the only way to get a true reflection of the business, in my opinion.
Is there a location that seems to be really popular with customers?
Yeah, I would say that Cancun, Mexico is our most popular location.
So what's next for FlyThere?
So now we're working on a referral scheme that will probably be out in a week or two. And after that, we're working on the ability to broadcast your flight. So basically, you'll be flying, and with a click of a button, you can broadcast it live on Facebook or other social networks. So when you're flying, you can do a Facebook Live, and all of your friends are going to see that as well.
That sounds very cool. And it's definitely one way to spread the word.
Another thing that we want to do maybe after that is create a platform for broadcasters that they'll be able to do broadcast their flight and invite their audience to take control over the drone. So think of, let's say you have a live show, for example. So you do the live show through FlyThere, and then, let's say you have a super chat. Okay, so someone does the super chat and you let him control the drone for, a few minutes. Basically, if you think of how entertainment has evolved from traditional linear broadcast television to on-demand videos, and now the ability to tune in and interact with broadcasters. So this is taking it to the next level where you don't just tune in and interact, but you can actually take control over the action.
Tal, is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
I think there is a really interesting opportunity that was provided to us by DJI in mid-2016. Basically, they did something pretty incredible, and that is to open an SDK, a software development kit, to anyone that wants to develop apps on their drones, similar to what Apple has done with the iPhone and iPhone SDK. And we have a whole world of opportunities now with these drones, and we can program them to do whatever we want. So I think it's a huge opportunity.
If DJI hadn't opened their SDK, would you still have been able to offer the service?
It would be much more complicated.
And for my final question, Tal, what message would you like to leave about drones and their ability to allow us to experience other lands.
Drones are really super sophisticated flying machines. I would recommend everyone to try and fly them. And I think FlyThere is a great way to do that and see if you like it, if you enjoy it. And in general, just if you want to see amazing places, try, to get a glimpse of the future and use FlyThere.
That's it for episode 222 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Tal Fromchenko of FlyThere. I want to thank Tal for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about FlyThere, explore an exotic land, or connect with Tal, check out the webpage at flythere.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the costs of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate or patreon.com/droneradioshow. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.